everybody. It is day 6 of planting. I can say planting for sure because there are corn seeds in the ground. I have no idea what we're going to do today. It rained some yesterday, but not too much. And I think it's pretty much dry enough that we can still till and maybe even still plant. So I don't know if I'll be planting or tilling or what other random stuff. It didn't really rain much the first time, then later in the afternoon it kind of came down, but there's nothing in the gauge. See, it's pretty dusty. Well, Chris is still over at Gary's. He's marking off the edges of the plot over there. I didn't realize it, but one of the seed companies is doing a test plot at the Bryant farm this year, and so we've never done that before, so he's marking it off, and that means the sections of the field next to the road will be test plots for corn seed and bean seed on both of them. So they'll have corn on one side, on the corn side, and beans on the bean side in a test plot. So he's marking that off, but in the meantime, Kyle brought me over to get the black truck, and we're going to load seed in this truck. That way we can have it in one place and not in the silver truck, and then if we need to roll it back into the shed or whatever, we can take this truck and just drive it right in. So Kyle and I are going to go back over to Maple Lawn and grab all the seed for the Bryant farm, or at least for the field that we have tilled, and then we'll move back over there and probably get the planter set up. Hopefully the tire guy will be out here to put the new tire on the wheel that Chris got fixed yesterday. Thanks to Brandon and Steve for welding up that wheel. I was going to try it, but he did it with a wire welder, and it's probably a much better job than I would have done. Pump these tires up since we got all that seed on the back. So this Ryobi pump is one of my favorite tools. I highly recommend it. They have a new version with the screen on the top that's better. I haven't tried it yet, but it would be better to have a different screen location. This is the one I've got. I like it a lot. I recommend it. This is cool. I hadn't seen this part of it before. So that's apparently where it extends out so that it can turn sideways to back into the barn. And now he's pulling it back in. Planting mode. So we dropped the seed off over at the Bryant farm, and Chris had been looking at the plot, but I think he's just going to use the auto steer to set the front and back edges of that plot. But he noticed that there's a big section that's not tilled in between the two fields, so he's going to go till that with a different tiller and this little deer. We're gonna go connect it up right now, but once it's connected, I'm gonna drive it to the Bryan farm so he can go pull the planter out. And then once we get over to the Bryan farm with this, I'll load the seeds into the planter while he goes and tills. Okay. Make sure we don't till up the lane. Oof, I hit a rock back there. This thing is really low to the ground. The piston, Chris said the piston in the back isn't long enough, so it doesn't raise it high enough. So we're going to have to be real careful getting on and off the road. And use our hazard flashers. There we go. And we made it. Come over here and start loading seed, but I should probably get my gloves for that. Okay. Got him. 6010 is over here, I believe. Yep. And this is going to go on the right side. Right of the wheel. Set him down by the wheel. Okay. Seed, but Chris is going to go to planting, and one thing we hadn't thought about is there's leftover seed in those planter units from Maple Lawn. It's a different number than what we're planting here in terms of seed hybrid. Some of it's the same, but it's kind of a mix of what's over at Maple Lawn. So I'm going to go get the shop vac. Shop vac. Where is the shop vac? And suck most of that seed out of those planter units before we fill it. I should have asked where it was. There's the shop vac. See if it needs cleaning out. I'm sure it does. Yep. Turn the air on. I just realized there's an adapter right there I can use to fill the truck. Never done this before, vacuuming seed out of a planter, so we'll see how it goes. o'clock. There's seed loaded in the planter over at the Bryant farm, and Chris brought the tiller back to Maple Lawn. I'm gonna pick him up and take him back over there to start planting, I believe. Oh, he's putting a wheel on the tractor. Nice. When I was walking in the barn and saw Avery's bike, the thought suddenly struck me that I had not tightened the nuts on Avery's front axle. We'd been lucky so far and the front wheel hadn't fallen off while she was riding it, but I thought I better stop and tighten it up while it was fresh in my mind. The girls have always liked riding their bikes around the neighborhood. They're actually really good at it. They've won a lot of races, so if you want to see those videos, they're over on our other YouTube channel. It's called Scott Fun. There's a lot of exciting racing content as well as other adventure videos that our family goes on. There goes the tire guy. I got 2 new tires on the Magnum, and that means I get to use it to go till over at the Rust farm. So better get to it. But like a dummy, I forgot. Gotta take the bucket off of the stack. Otherwise, I think it'll shoot off or backfire or something. I don't know. I think I put that like, oh, probably like that. There we go. Now we're ready to go till. Very carefully ease it out of the lot. Woo! Look at those pretty new shiny front wheels. Tires. Still got the stickers on them. He just pulled right into the ditch to get his planter up to the edge. His end rows aren't wide enough, I guess. Now that Chris is planting over at the Bryant farm, I decided to just come back and get some lunches and some sweet teas. So I'm going to take him a lunch, that way he can keep planting and I'll be able to keep tilling. Take my lunch in the tractor with me. Sandy made us roast beef sandwiches, and she made Chris 2 roast beef sandwiches, and she made me I think ham and cheese, and then some pretzels and stuff like that. So that's the kind of stuff we eat when we're staying in the field usually, except this time I got to come pick it up. Chris kind of did the same thing where he pulled up. He didn't go into the ditch like the other guy did, but he had to pull up until his wheels were right on the edge of the ditch. But those weren't end rows. That was actually end rows that guy was planting in the tractor that I saw earlier. And he had to pull all the way into the ditch to get his end rows close enough to the end of his pass. Chris has got his lunch and he's getting back in the planter, trying to figure out his end rows. I'm gonna go till. Alright, time to saddle up. Uh-oh. I left one of the basket rollers running. Good thing it's Well, we still don't have enough satellites to have auto steer, so it took me that far across the field to get my 2 sandwiches eaten in between turning and all that stuff. There's a lot of turning in this field, and my tea fell over like 2 or 3 times. So I guess it's not a very well balanced meal. Well, it's 3:10 now, and I finished the 30-acre field over at the Russ Farm, and I just set my line on the 40-acre field here on the other side of the hedge here, and maybe I'll get a drone shot of that, but I'm going to go to the house and take a break and maybe see what Chris is up to, and then come back and probably hit this again. It's 3 o'clock, so there's plenty more daylight to probably get this whole field done maybe. 40-acre field, knock that out and have 70 acres tilled just this afternoon since lunch. It'd be great. Well, Chris called me, so I'm going to stop over here on the 40-acre field at the Russ Farm, and we're going to go get the trailer hooked up to the truck and pick up a pallet of seeds for this farm, I believe, at the FS plant. So we'll go do that, and then maybe we'll get back to tilling later. So I got the seed and came back over here to the Bryant farm, got the seed on pallets on a trailer, and I'm gonna help Chris clean out the planter. I guess he's on his last round. We're making real good progress today, it seems like, so hopefully we can just keep going. Chris is taking the seed over to the 30-acre field. Actually, it's right in between the 30 and 40-acre field. We're going to leave it sit there, and I'm going to pick him up and run him back to get the Kubota. This way we have both the trucks over there. I'm going to help him load the planter and get back to tilling, most likely. Back in Magnus, I'm going to make one run, one pass, which is the tiller back to the other side of the 40-acre field, and meet Chris over there by the 30 to load the planter. I can see him coming down the lane back there. I'm not sure why he does all that up and down. Or he closes it? I don't know. I'll have to ask him and put it on the voiceover. Why was that?
When you first unfold that planter, sometimes when it's in transport mode, those end wheels are locked up. And so if you let it all the way down, it has to go down, which I think it's something in the hydraulics that it has to get all the way to plant depth and trigger something, release the end wheel. And sometimes, you know, if you're sitting in the terrain a little crooked, toolbar won't get all the way to plant position where your downforce and everything is set for.
now that we got Chris planting, I can go back to tilling. Maybe I'll even get done before it's dark. We'll see. Woo. It is like 9:10. Saw Chris over there in the other field earlier. I can see his lights. I'm still tilling. I'm on my next to last pass in this 40-acre field, and we'll be done for the day. I'm exhausted, but real close to the end. Still doing good enough to keep going. Well, I'm done and I'm headed back to the truck. I texted Chris I'm finished and he said me too. I don't know if that means he's just finished because he's done physically or if he actually finished the build. That'd be awesome if he finished the build. It's 9:47. It's about 56 degrees outside, so I'm very thankful that the wind has stopped. I'm standing out at the field that I just tilled waiting on Chris. He's coming right now. That's his headlights. And I think he's got the trailer with the seeds, but we'll see. It was a late night. We're done for the evening. Thanks everybody for watching. We've got one more day of planting, so check back on our next video to see how much we're able to get done before the family heads back to Nashville.